Fox Sports.
We are the Fox. We are Florida.
All-Star Week coming to a real head with the All-Star Game 2 nights away on Fox. First half finishes for the Marlins and the Mets here at Citi Field. And the Mets have crept within a game of the Fish by taking the first 2. Take the 7 out to Citi Field. Marlin fans, Met fans arriving here in this one. The Fish looking for a win, looking for a better finish than yesterday. Hi, everybody. Rich Waltz along with Preston Wilson. Yesterday, another gut punch of a loss for the Marlins, and they've run into a Met team that's hot right now. They've won 6 of 7.
The last month and a half or so, the Marlins have run into a lot of hot teams. Yesterday was just a couple plays away from winning that game, but that's been the story a lot this year.
Perspective, though, last year at the All-Star break, the Marlins were 23 games under the 500 mark. Team has made some, I know it's been frustrating the last few days, but they've made some big strides.
Definitely a better team. They're better defensively at third base. They got more power at first base. They got Giancarlo Stanton back doing his thing. So the team is a better team, but I think we're expecting a little bit more right now because we know what the potential is.
Okay, let's talk about the pitching matchup. To finish this first half, it's not an easy one for the Fish. Brad Hand last time out pitched well. I think the Marlins have high hopes in the second half for him.
There's a rotation spot to be had, and Brad Hand in his last 2 starts looks like he's trying to take advantage of it, throwing strikes, being efficient. Gotta like it.
Mets have a talented young rotation, and one of the surprise additions has been Jacob deGrom, the former shortstop out of Stetson University. He was dynamite his last start, and he was really good against the Fish.
What he's doing right now is he's pitching with his off-speed stuff. He throws more strikes with his changeup and curveball than he does with his fastball, but he still throws in the mid-90s, so got to be honest about it.
He punched out 11 Braves his last time out. So it's the Mets, it's the Marlins. First half highlights. You want some of those? You got it with Allison Williams. We'll relive some big first half moments as the Marlins and the Mets get ready to go. And Mets, let's go right down to Allison Williams. Good morning, A-Dub, or afternoon, I should say.
Good afternoon, Walty. I'll tell you what, this morning in the Marlins clubhouse, a different feel today with one final game before the All-Star break. Kind of felt like the last day of school before summer vacation. The Marlins getting ready to head into the All-Star break. And as they do, we decided to take a look back at some of the highlights from this 2014 season. Of course, you can't start without starting with Giancarlo Stanton, the All-Star for the Marlins. The Sluggers had quite the start, 21 home runs. This was one of them that certainly left an impression in people's minds, and probably the Budweiser bar, a 484-foot bomb off of Eric Stoltz. It's been a good start to the season for Giancarlo, and also for Henderson Alvarez, who will join him at the All-Star game with that unique windup. He has been spectacular for the Fish. He's sixth among NL starters with a 2.63 ERA. Always entertaining. The eephus pitch will get you from time to time. Hey, we also got to give it up for Casey McGee. Probably should have been in that All-Star game, and this is one of his great games against his former team, the Pirates, with the Dad's Day walk-off. He drove in all 3 runs in the 3-2 win for the Fish. And what about the Goon Squad? The bench guys getting it done. Jeff Baker has been good for the Marlins. He had a walk-off earlier in the year against the Dodgers, and Eddie Lucas as well with the walk-off of his own earlier in the month against Philadelphia, scoring Jeff Baker to give the Marlins a win. Those two, along with Reed Johnson, certainly stellar for the Fish off of the bench or when they get a start. And Marcell Ozuna showing off his bullet of an arm in the outfield, picking up 2 assists against the Mets when they played in Miami, one of them to end the game. But when you talk about game enders for the Marlins, well, you got to talk about this one.
2 to Sting. Breaking ball, fly ball, left field deep. This game is over. Grand slam. Walk 'em off. Miami wins it. How about an exclamation point on that? The hottest hitter in baseball.
The Marlins have certainly had some exciting moments in the first half of the season so far. A lot of walk-off wins, a lot of dramatic victories, and it's all culminated into a much better start to this season. 5 games under 500. They currently sit with one more chance to add a victory in the first half of the season. The finale from New York, the finale for the first half of 2014. It's coming up when we return to Citi Field. Marlins baseball is next.
Sports Florida brought to you by Toyota. Let's go places. By AT&T UVerse. Find out what's possible with AT&T. By Checkers. Checkers brings big flavor for a small price. By Bluebell. Celebrate summer with Bluebell's newest flavor, Magic Cookie Bar. And by your South Florida Honda dealers and sfhondadealers.com. Jacob deGrom's first pitch in the dirt. Pinch a Penny bringing you the first pitch of this ball game with Christian Yelich, Adeiny Hechavarria, and Giancarlo Stanton as the Marlins try to salvage a game out of this series against the Mets. Fastball foul up into the seats and out of play. Jacob deGrom has been terrific for the Mets. 26-year-old out of Ormond Beach, Florida. Stetson University, and the Mets took him back in 2010 in the 9th round. And the Marlins know all about how good he can be.
Yes, he's actually pitched very well against the Marlins in the past. He has the ability to throw a lot of strikes and throw all different pitches all over the place. Terry Collins loves this guy.
Little tapper, first base side. Lucas Duda collects and steps and gets the out. And so 1 out here in the first. Here come the Marlins. It's brought to you by JM Lexus. Yelich in the leadoff spot. Adeiny Hechavarria got a promotion to hit second, and he's earned it on this road trip. Giancarlo Stanton, an all-star, but struggling. Casey McGee, Garrett Jones, Marcell Ozuna. Ed Lucas had a good game against deGrom the time that the Marlins faced him, and Jeff Mathis gets the start behind the plate with Brad Hand slotted ninth. And here is Hechavarria, 3 hits in the series, batting average just under 280, and he takes outside. And Preston, we talked about improvement from first half last year to first half this year. I think you can put Hechavarria in there. His home runs, obviously he hasn't hit one yet, but he's been much more consistent at the plate.
He's starting to find himself. He's starting to understand what he does well a little bit better. And he's starting to lay off pitches that make him give away at bats.
He hit just .227 last year. He had 3 homers last season. His on-base percentage just over 300. And deGrom misses down low. And it's 2-1. Marlins yesterday had a pair of 2-run leads disappear as the Mets came from behind twice and then scored in the 8th to win it 5-4.
This Mets team, they're on the hunt. They are definitely hungry for it. And you see them, the dugout is live. They're constantly patting each other on the back.
And Terry Collins, Bob Guerin. The Mets have won 6 of 7. One of the things the Marlins have accomplished on a nice run, and including taking 2 of 3 in St. Louis, is they put distance between themselves and the basement of the East, the Mets and the Phillies. But that's changed with the Mets winning the last 2 and drawing within a game. And Hechavarria bounces it to Tejada at short, gets the out. Preston Wilson, you get the defense today. And here are the Amazons, the Mets.
Well, here they go. Let's take you around the outfield from left to right. Chris Young gets a start in left field after a pinch hit home run yesterday. Lagarde is playing in center field. Good-looking young guy. Curtis Granderson in right. David Wright at third. Tejada is at shortstop. Eric Campbell, after a big pitch hit yesterday, gets a start at second. Lucas Duda at first base. Aaron Recker and Jacob deGrom are your battery.
And here is Giancarlo Stanton. In yesterday's ball game, kind of typifies the road trip he's had. 3 punch-outs. Daisuke carving him up on a fastball, a breaking ball, and then he struck out for a 3rd time. A bouncer in the dirt. He's gone 14 games, 70 plate appearances without a home run, and amazingly, he still leads the National League not only in homers, but also runs batted in.
I would like to see if we can get a comparison throughout this game of his distance from home plate, because the camera angle is the same as it was yesterday. And if we can get a shot of how close he is to home plate I think he was way too far off the plate yesterday.
You feel like he looks a little closer right now?
I feel like he does look a little bit closer. His front foot was really close. I'd say maybe about a good 8 inches from that back line. He's about maybe a foot or so off it now. He was close to 6 to 8 inches off that back line yesterday.
Takes the walk, and that's a good sign. It's one of the things in this run. Stanton's walk rate has dipped, and of course, one of the nice compliments the Marlins have had, Stanton slugging, hitting big hits, and when he's not hitting, he was walking, and that set things up for Casey McGee, Garrett Jones, Marcell Ozuna on down the line. Here's McGee with Stanton at first. And for McGee, a couple hits in this series, including a double.
I see Casey McGee getting a hit on a breaking ball for sure in this game off Jacob deGrom. He follows patterns. He watches what this guy likes to do. He'll pick one out.
Stanton's at first. deGrom to the plate. And then a fastball at 93, a strike to McGee. The hit yesterday for McGee is 114th. Remember, he was tied with Daniel Murphy and Hunter Pence. No more. He's at 114. And Andrew McCutchen, off a big night last night, is at 114 as well. McGee off the end of the bat. Campbell charges, flips, and gets him. And the Marlins are done in the first. Brad Hand gets the baseball and faces the Mets next. The way and into Citi Field. 35,000 were here yesterday. The Mets are hot, and here's their lineup. It's brought to you by JM Lexus. Curtis Granderson in right. Eric Campbell gets a start at second. Campbell a 9-game streak, and of course had a big hit, the game winner in the 8th inning last night. David Wright at third base. Lucas Dudas at first. Juan Lagares in center. Chris Young had the 2-run homer that tied the game late yesterday. Anthony Recker behind the plate. Ruben Tejadas at short. And Jacob deGrom slotted ninth. And Brad Hand looking for his first win of the season. Looking for his 3rd major league win. This is his 20th major league start. And his first pitch is drilled into right. Stanton has room over, and he makes the catch. Granderson is out number 1. Preston Wilson back on the clock here with the Marlins defense.
And the Marlins look like this on defense. Christian Yelich is in the left. Ozuna center field. Giancarlo Stanton is in right. Casey McGee, third base. Danny H. Maria, shortstop. Ed Lucas at second. Garrett Jones is at first base. And Mathis, the man behind the plate with the good glove, is out there. Brad Hand is pitching. I like Mathis behind the plate. I like Salty too, but Mathis gives you that good feel.
And he's working with Brad Hand. The fastball a strike, and here is Eric Campbell, the tall, lanky infielder, outfielder, versatile player out of Boston College, who's getting the start at second. And of course, Campbell yesterday had a starring role late, although it was a cameo appearance in the 8th inning. He pinch hit for Kirk Neuenhuis, and he knocked home Travis d'Arnaud to make it 5-4, and the Mets would go on to close the game in the 9th. This was the pitch from Mike Dunn.
Just stayed on a 2-strike breaking ball, and they was able to drive in a big run right there. I mean, that's coming off the bench in a crucial situation. You found a way to get the job done.
And in the little playing time he's been able to get, he's been very, very good. You saw the hit streak from Campbell, and he carries a .343 average into the ball game. David Wright's up next. Stanton watching that one go into the corner and out of reach. The Mets, winners of 6 of 7. The Marlins on this road trip have dropped 5 of 8. So in opposite directions, it's brought the Mets within a game of Miami, who had found themselves all alone in 3rd for a while. The Phillies have played better. The Mets are at 44-50. The Fish 44-49. So actually a half a game back, and the Marlins can be caught if the Mets win this ball game. Washington and Atlanta still sit atop the East, and they're in a deadlock right now with Miami 6.5 back. Inside corner, Campbell started his walk, but Hand came in and got a strike.
Being able to pitch on both sides of the plate now is really helping Brad Hand. When he first came up to the big leagues, he primarily stayed on that first base side. Didn't really work the inside corner to righties. Now he's doing it, and it's paying off. When you throw low 90s, 95, why not?
David Wright now. Wright has 4 hits in this series. And of course, they all came in game 1. 4 for 4 with a 2-run homer. The series opened with the Mets blasting Henderson Alvarez 7-1. Alvarez weekend got better yesterday when he was named to the National League All-Star team, and deservedly so.
It was just the timing of it. That's probably his worst start in about a month or so, and right before the All-Star break, and he gets it the next day. That's nice.
A lot of news around baseball this Sunday. Last Sunday before the All-Star break, the Braves have suspended Dan Uggla for a game. No reason was given for his suspension. They called up a young infielder to take his spot in Chicago. Uggla has not played in a long time. Bouncer out to short. Echeverria on to first in time. David Wright is retired. A nice clean first for Brad Hand underway in New York. And scoreless. Day here in New York. Last game before the All-Star break. First game after the All-Star break is a Fireworks Friday against the San Francisco Giants. It's Friday, July 18th, 7:10, Colombian Heritage Night. I like the look there. Donovan Solano, the pride of Colombia. Presented by Avianca Airlines. Stay after the game. Incredible fireworks display. Go to Marlins.com for tickets. Rich Waltz along with Preston Wilson. Tommy Hutton taking the series off. Preston very capably filling in. It's been fun the last 2 ball games, but you know Preston is itching to call a Marlins win with the infield shifted over for Garrett Jones and a swing and a miss. There's only so much you can do from up here.
They may not let me on the flight back home.
Marcell Ozuna and Ed Lucas
Starting to get the fish eye from some of the guys.
against Jacob deGrom. Jones had a double yesterday. And deGrom throws it by him. It's 0-2. deGrom, not only a converted shortstop out of Stetson, but he missed all of 2011 with Tommy John surgery. Didn't make a lot of starts in the minors, 58 of them, but he was really good in the minors. 21-11 with a 3.5 ERA, foul back to the screen. And he's done something that few Met pitchers have done in their career. He has struck out 11 batters in 2 ball games as a rookie. Only Nolan Ryan and Dwight Gooden have done that.
I mean, if you want to be in that company, fine.
Yeah, their careers turned out okay. Campbell fighting the sun, and Jones is out. And there's an out. Here comes Marcell Ozuna.
Ozuna has quietly become a top-tier guy as far as outfield production on offense. We already know he's good defensively. Got that great arm, good feet out there as far as I'm concerned. But he's a guy who was just in A-ball a couple years ago.
Beginning of last year.
Played 5 games at Double-A, and now he's a very big piece of this puzzle that the Marlins have.
Well, if you look at his overall numbers, and you know, Ozuna comes in with 275 average. He's on base at 323, slugging 464. And that's what is referred to as the slash line. Look at where he was through last season, through this year. But what's impressive are the home runs and the RBIs, and because that kind of stacks up, he's not in the league leaders, but he's close in both of those. And I think that's what surprises people. You know, Casey McGee's got 53 RBIs. Well, Ozuna's got 52. Stan's got 21 homers. Ozuna's got 15. He's played terrific defense.
He's that guy that can kind of get caught in the middle of the bigger names, and he doesn't jump out at you until late, and you go, wow, look at this guy's numbers. Because you start comparing him to everybody else, that's when you realize the impact that he's having in his lineup.
Ozuna fouls it off. He yesterday had a laser beam double to right over the head of Curtis Granderson to knock in a run. That was in the 6th. One, two, deGrom elevates and strikes him out.
Seen a lot of teams do this to Ozuna. Try to get him to chase high late. And you see that target? The target is up high. He's not even fully down in a crouch. Crouch. That's
it's all right. Just keep going, and no one will notice.
Nope. I want to admire that for a while. I don't get to call games too often, Rich.
Well, to get down in a crouch, you do have to use your. So there. Here now is Ed Lucas. Lucas getting the start. He actually had a couple hits against deGrom.
I embrace my errors, you know.
You got to own them.
I'll get better from them.
You got to own them. DeGrom gave up 5 hits in 7 innings in late June down in Miami. Lucas had a couple of those hits. He struck out 7 in a scoreless duel right now.
Guys who just throw hard aren't necessarily strikeout pitchers. You get strikeouts by being able to get other strikes in the at-bat other than a fastball, and he can do that with his changeup and curveball. And I like his movement too. Good sink on the third base side there. Ball really dives down under the right-hander's bat.
Does he have the best hair in the National League?
He's definitely up there. I mean,
he's made the big salad look like a side salad.
Yeah, salad looks wilty compared to him.
Swing and a miss.
That's got a lot of body.
Jeff Mathis on deck. And he strikes out Lucas. So Jacob deGrom, who punched out 11 Braves his last time out in a scoreless game. Goes to Minneapolis on Tuesday night, the 2014 All-Star Game on Fox, 7:30 start, 4:30 start on Fox Sports 1 for special pregame coverage. Giancarlo Stanton slated not only to appear in the home run hitting contest tomorrow night, but also looks like he'll be the designated hitter in the starting lineup for the National League, and Henderson Alvarez on that pitching staff. Lucas Duda, Juan Lagares, and Chris Young against Brad Hand. Hand catches the corner for a strike.
I'm excited for the rest of the nation who has not seen Giancarlo Stanton get a chance to see his ability.
I think most of the nation has seen Stanton, but not in game action, only in highlights. Because whether it's Fox Sports Live or ESPN, any of the sports shows, MLB Network, they all have, greatest hits, longest distances. Oftentimes MLB Network will switch over for a Stanton at bat just in case he's about to launch one. So I think people have seen the highlights, but I don't know that they've seen him play a full game, as you point out.
That, and to watch him take batting practice against the other best players in the league, is really going to point out how much power he really has. It's noticeable.
Lucas Duda takes outside, count 3-2. Fox in Los Angeles requesting a greatest hits reel of Stanton's longest and greatest and most impressive. So maybe we'll see that on the All-Star show. The most impressive to me and to a lot of people wasn't his longest, wasn't the fastest, it was close. It was the line drive to right field that went out at about 111 or 112 miles an hour. Just a liner to right. That was back at Marlins Park. Duda cranks one. Yelich won't get it, off the wall. And Lucas Duda has his 21st double of the season. And he continues a nice resurgence. He's been part of this Mets turnaround, so to speak.
Lucas Duda has been doing just that, driving the ball in the opposite gap better. And that makes him stay on pitches. He's not giving up at bats. And now when he gets that ball in, he's keeping it fair. And you're starting to see the power numbers creep up. Doubles are up. With him in that lineup, Wright doing his thing. Wright can carry you, but this guy can also help.
Juan Lagares, Chris Young, and then Anthony Recker. That's what Brad Hand has to deal with Duda at second and nobody out here in the bottom of the second inning. It's a bunt. This could be a close play. And to first, not in time.
Yesterday, we saw the Mets do a great job of moving guys over, getting those productive outs. Again, sack bunt here today. Ends up being a base hit. I'm looking at Garrett Jones, and he's standing in the middle of the bag. I think he should be closer towards home plate. That way he can get towards the pitcher to catch that ball sooner. He's making the ball have to travel further.
Yeah, he did not stretch on that. And so as you watch this bang bang, watch where the glove and the ball is. If he's able to stretch out towards the throw, and that's not always that easy with a pitcher, but still, they probably get him. As it is, it's a bunt base hit. And here's Young. Chris Young, center field. Ozuna around it. Makes the catch. Tagging is Duda. The throw comes to second. And Lagares retreats. The Mets are on the board.
If you're a manager, you can't draw it up any better than that. Guy gets a hit, double. You move him over, get the benefit of him being on first base. And then your next guy, sack fly. That's what the Mets have been doing here these last few weeks. They've been playing fundamental baseball. They've been getting the important things done, moving runners over, getting them in with less than 2 outs from third base. That's just good baseball.
Think about the last 24 hours for Chris Young. He's seen 2 pitches. He has swung the bat twice. He has a 2-run homer and a sacrifice fly. It's pretty efficient.
I know there was a change in philosophy when they changed hitting coaches here. And I do see this Met team, they're still trying to be selective, but they're also not just taking a pitch for the sake of taking a pitch. Because everybody can't hit like that. And Chris Young, he proved you can get the job done. What more do you want right there?
Lamar Johnson, the hitting coach now, he replaced Dave Hudgens. So Young sacrifice fly makes it 1-0. Anthony Recker takes a strike. Recker doing the catching for the Mets. And you got Ruben Tejada right behind him.
Recker looks like a pretty big kid.
Recker, a guy that came up in Oakland's organization, then with the Cubs. Sends a pop up towards the line. That's a long run and trouble. Stanton makes the catch and throws. Two outs. This copyrighted telecast presented by the authority of the Marlins may not be reproduced or retransmitted in any form. Accounts and descriptions of this game may not be disseminated without the express written consent of the Marlins.
I like what Giancarlo did right there. Even though that ball wasn't that high, he got there first. He didn't try to time it to where the ball's coming down with that slow jog. He beat it over there and was able to catch it standing up. Doesn't have to force himself into a slide. We're patting on the back today, Rich. That's what we're doing.
Marlins could use a pat on the back and a win. Ruben Tejada takes a fastball for a strike. The Mets, on the other hand, have to feel pretty good that things are starting to come together. And both these teams are doing it without their ace. Jose Fernandez out for the Fish. Matt Harvey out for the Mets.
Yeah, they've been slapping each other on the back a lot over there in that Mets dugout. I think Terry Collins has on ice bags on his rotator cuff right now. They've been winning a lot.
Lucas gets Ruben Tejada. 1-0 Mets.
How the Mets probably lead the league in the number of different uniforms they've worn, with a stretch of 7 different unis in 7 days. Well, they might lead the league in another uniform category. That is the use of lowercase letters. It all started last year with Travis d'Arnaud. They wanted to give him a lowercase letter in his name, but they didn't make them, so they used an upside-down P. Well, that wasn't going to work for Jacob deGrom this year, so they worked with Majestic in the offseason to make lowercase letters available. When he made his debut, he probably, we are thinking, is the first guy to play in a major league game with 2 lowercase letters. But that did not last long because the Mets also had Matt den Dekker in their system. He made his debut on Memorial Day, and he had 3 lowercase letters. So the Mets with d'Arnaud, deGrom, and den Dekker, a lot of lowercase letters being used, which you don't usually see in the bigs. It's usually all uppercase, so kind of a different look this year.
Well, you got to be authentic, right? Mathis pops out on the first pitch he sees from Jacob deGrom.
Just the Mets scouts. They're just showing off. There's no need for that.
And here is Brad Hand. Well, deGrom is firmly ensconced in this rotation. We saw yesterday Daisuke Matsuzaka, 6 innings, 4 hits, 4 runs. The thought is that when Jonathan Neese is ready to come off the disabled list, Matsuzaka slides back into the bullpen. Noah Syndergaard, big 21-year-old right-hander, is one of the Mets' top prospects. He's down in the minor leagues right now. It'll be interesting to see if anybody kicks the tires on Bartolo Colon. Hand into center field. And Ligares makes the catch. Fan photo time. Hashtag FL fan photo. It's a chance to have your photo on the telecast. And of course, it's brought to you by AT&T. Actually had a few nice fan photos sent to my Twitter account, and I directed them to hashtag it FL fan photo. I think the best one we've had over the last couple of weeks is the guy with the big bass.
Okay.
Not Lance Bass.
Gotcha.
Not Kevin Bass.
Yeah, I saw you had his arms extended to emphasize the size of the catch.
Yeah, it's an optical illusion trick when taking a fish photo. Hold the fish close to the lens and it looks bigger.
Like it. It's good thinking.
Christian Yelich now, top of the order, second time through. Nothing to show yet against Jacob deGrom. And a breaking ball that misses to Yelich. 9 straight for Yelich, including a home run to right center field against Matsuzaka in yesterday's ball game. "13 hits on this road trip." And as you look and see who's got some momentum finishing the first half, I think Yelich is certainly one of those guys. Maybe Echeverria to some extent as well. Yelich off the end of the bat, going to fall, base hit. And so a 2-out single will bring up Echeverria, first hit for the Fish.
Yelich is staying with his approach, takes that ball the other way, dumps it in front of the left fielder Chris Young over there. He's been consistent since he's been back. He hasn't gone through those phases where he's swinging himself out of at bats, chasing balls out of the zone. He seems to have control of the at bats right now. He's dictating what he wants to swing at. Good setup, hands get back, great balance through the swing.
Yelich a runner at first. And deGrom over to first. deGrom generally good feet. He was a shortstop. Maybe the best ex-shortstop to pitch in the big leagues. Trevor Hoffman, who was a college shortstop at Arizona.
Was he throwing changeups over to first base?
Runner goes, and the throw is high. Yelich is out. So Yelich is caught. The inning is over. And the Mets continue to lead the Marlins. And for the Fish, the frustrations of this 3-game set continue. Rob Leary on the phone just to check and see. Mike Redmond hasn't popped. There he comes. Red's on his way out just to start the process. And so we'll wait and see if he gets the cap off or the thumb up. The thumb up means the call is right. And Red will turn around.
If nothing else, this challenge process is going to get Red to lose weight.
1-0 Mets. Off the top of the third. Another look in super slow motion. Tough to see if the tag got him before the hand got there, but the glove was on him the whole ride, and it looked like it was. It looked like the hand went off the bag before the hip or the leg got there. Yelich did not argue.
I thought maybe the glove clipped the helmet, the lid of the helmet when he came down. From our angle, it's tough to see, but it looked like he might have got it there.
Here is DeGrom.
It brings up an interesting point, though.
Okay.
When the ball beats the runner by that much, all that guy that's applying the tag got to do is lean forward a little bit instead of letting the runner come to him. Step towards him.
Well, that's for a middle infielder. Anything around the bag like that in a bang situation or in a play like that, that's a hard thing to change because leaning forward oftentimes got you in the line of fire of spikes or whatever. Yeah, Yelich didn't argue, and I think you're right. He may have clipped the helmet as well. Here's Granderson now. Brad Hand gave up a run in the second. Curtis Granderson showing signs of life, except for his last 5-6 days. He's 2 for his last 21. But a guy that, when the season started, really struggled, has come on to hit 14 home runs. And fouls it back to the screen. And Met fans are hopeful that it continues because not only Met fans, but Sandy Alderson and the rest of the front office. Granderson, a 4-year, $60 million contract. Mets spent $87 million on 3 free agents in the offseason. Granderson, the long term, 2 years of Bartolo Colon, $20 million. And then a year of Chris Young. Young making $7 million. That one cracked into the gap. Stanton cuts it off. Granderson, big turn. Nice job by Stanton to get there and get the throw in.
Good angle there. Cuts that ball off. Saves yourself a base. I mean, all of those are little things that go into play that there isn't really a stat for.
Well, you know what? For that right there, they're starting to get stats. And one way to measure outfielders and their efficiency, runs saved. And Stanton is actually second in all of baseball for right fielders, most runs saved. Now, he's a long ways away from Jason Hayward, who leads that category. Off of Hand's glove, Echeverria couldn't corral it, and that's one if Hand could do over again, he might have left alone.
Yeah, sometimes it's just so hard to make it register that quickly to not reach your hand up there. You're an athlete, you want to catch the ball, and that's a very short time period to pull your hand back. Veteran pitchers do it a lot easier. That's just a reaction.
And by the time Echeverria got there, Eric Campbell had himself a base hit.
It's a 10-game hitting streak for Eric Campbell.
Which is impressive because he's not playing regularly.
Right. But I think the key to that whole situation is when you have a man on first, the middle infield is pinched towards the second base bag. So they're going to make that play.
Here's David Wright now. Wright's bounced out. And David Wright has always hit left-handed pitching. He's always hit Marlin pitching, but especially against lefties. David Wright and Chris Johnson at the top of the list. And Wright, I believe, in the career numbers among active, he and Ryan Braun are almost neck and neck in this category against lefties.
You know what those guys have in common? They all like to hit the ball to right center. Every last one of those guys like to drive the ball in the right center gap.
Look at that. Good company. You got Derek Jeter, Matt Kemp. And the amazing thing is Ichiro, who's a left-handed hitter.
Yeah. Well, he hits everybody. If you add up his hits from Japan in here, it's ridiculous.
One and two.
I like that pitch. You're starting to see signs of them getting it. So many times you see them get a hitter like David Wright in an 0-2 count, and the mistake is not made away from the plate, it's made on the plate. It may seem like an innocuous pitch, but that's a good sign for me.
Wright stays alive. The count's 1-2. There's your right center, but he didn't get it well. Stanton comes in and makes the catch. And so there's a pair of outs here in the third. Marlins and Giants next Saturday. It's a Saturday spectacular. All-you-can-eat seats, just $27. 7:10 start. After the game, head on out to the East Plaza. A party at the Clevelander with live music, entertainment. It's all presented by Budweiser. Marlins.com, the place to go for tickets.
It's just time for us to have some fun. You know, this has been a long road trip going into the All-Star break. We need some feel-good. We need some feel-good right now. We need the Marlins to make some good plays, get some big hits, and fly happy.
Happy flight. Wasn't that the rallying cry of Hunter Pence with the 2012 San Francisco Giants? Happy flight means winning the series and winning that last game of the series. Lucas Duda now doubled his first time up. And he takes down low.
Duda with a double to left center last time. See what Brad Hand tries to do to him this time. Think away with Duda, you got to go more up.
Got speed at second with Granderson. Two and 0. And ready, his 2-0 pitch. And Duda gets into one. Ozuna back, warning track, has room, makes the catch. Has a big grin after making it. Lucas Duda gave it a ride. It's still 1-0. And the fish are down here in New York. Into the fourth we go. With Danny Echeverria coming to the plate. He'll lead it off. Giancarlo Stanton, Casey McGee to follow. On base percentage, leading off an inning. It's our Palmetto 57 Nissan, Palmetto 57 Volkswagen leaderboard. Marlins at 325. The Rockies, the Dodgers, the Pirates. What a night it was for the Pirates. And if you're filling out midway point, MVP, Cy Young, all of that in the National League, Andrew McCutchen may have sealed that up last night with a game-tying homer in the 9th and a game-winning homer in the 11th.
Doesn't get much bigger than that.
And McCutchen is putting up almost the same numbers as last year. He's tied with Casey McGee for hits. He's second in slugging. He's second in on base. Third in hitting. DeGrom with a fastball. Second in RBIs. And of course he plays that great defense in center field. Giancarlo Stanton certainly is on that list and the first half MVP candidates.
I don't know if he's most valuable, but McCutchen is incredibly valuable.
And Echeverria with an 0-2 coming. And DeGrom misses away. Granderson is over and there and makes the catch. AT&T U-verse rewind. All right, this was my favorite home run of Giancarlo's. This was the bullet that went out to right in the blink of an eye. It's our AT&T U-verse rewind. And here is Stanton now, who walked back in the first. DeGrom has not given up a lot of homers. Stanton fouls off a breaking ball. He's given up 5 in 69 innings.
You know that when Stanton hit that ball, they grounded all the flights to Miami for about 10 minutes just to make sure they knew what it was.
Here's the 0-1.
Big, slow breaking ball from DeGrom.
Mike Redmond watching from the dugout. After this half inning, he will be our guest for a few questions. One and two. He swings at a breaking ball that bounces in the dirt. So a tough at bat for Stanton, and a rugged road trip for him continues.
Well, look at him swing the bat right here. He has nothing left outside the plate. His bat stops right maybe at the corner. So if they make a pitch, he can't expand to maybe hit a sac fly on a pitch that may be up but a little off the plate. He's not covering the whole strike zone. Like, his bat is barely touching outside corner. That means you're too far away from the plate, or you got too short of a bat. You can't stand there and not cover at least 3 or 4 inches over the outside.
Casey McGee now. McGee's bounced out. And DeGrom misses away.
And there could be more than one answer. He could be too far, or he could be in less of a crouch, which means now his head or his upper body is further away from home plate.
Now McGee went after an off-speed pitch and missed it.
That was a very nice changeup. When you're hitting, you got 2-0, nobody on base, you're thinking, I'm going to get the cheese right here, 95. Played a little Geppetto on him just now.
Good Disney reference there, Press.
So we're going to have some fun today, Rich.
Breaking ball swung on and missed. It's 2-2.
There is what we talked about, him being able to throw strikes with his secondary pitches. That's a comfort level, so you know you're not forced into a fastball.
There's the fastball, and DeGrom thought it was a strike. Started his skip to the dugout. Let's take a look on Fox Tracks, just because we can.
Might have grazed the upper corner.
Yeah, might have caught a little bit of the black. 3-2 coming. Off-speed pitch, and McGee was sitting on it, and he dumps it into center field for a hit.
Told you, he's so smart. At some point during the day, he was going to sit on a breaking ball again. That's just what he does, and his hands are good enough that he's going to put it in play and most likely get a hit.
Got it off the end of the bat.
But he stayed with it. The bat is extending through center field. That barrel is not coming out towards left field. That gives you an extension. You can find a hole that way.
So McGee with a hit. He's aboard. Here's Garrett Jones. Casey 21 doubles along with those singles. McGee almost was running. And a rolling breaking ball gets a strike on Garrett Jones.
Guys like DeGrom are nightmares for managers in 3-2 counts because they can never guess with him. He can throw his changeup for a strike, curveball. They can't guess with him, so it takes away some of their options as far as starting the runner with their bigger swing guys.
Ball in the strike. Marlins sit 5 under right now, 44 and 49. At this time last year, the end of the All-Star, or at the end of the first half, into the All-Star break, they were 23 under. Jones a towering pop. Campbell's out there for the shift anyways. He doesn't see it, and it lands between Granderson and Campbell. McGee stops at third. Campbell was out there, but Granderson didn't give him any help and figured he'd let Campbell try to catch it.
That ball got right in the sun. You can see Campbell put his hands up. That's the universal fielder sign for help. I can't see it. Hope I don't get hit in the head. I don't even know if Granderson saw it at that point because they're looking, well, now they're not looking at the same angle, but somewhat the same direction. I don't know if it's because of the gray, hazy sky, because it's not really too bright. I think the ball might have been kind of the same color as the sky there.
It is a double, and it's a big opportunity for Miami, albeit with 2 outs. Ozuna struck out back in the second. So McGee got one off the end of the bat, dumped it to center. Jones gets a pop-up lost in the sun. And here's your opportunity against a guy that's been pitching very well of late, Jacob DeGrom.
It's another opportunity for Ozuna to show he can be relaxed in these situations.
Breaking ball, broken bat in the hole at short. Tejada's throw, he beat it, and the Marlins tie the game. Great hustle by Ozuna. He smelled the hit as soon as it left his bat. Jones ends up at third, and the Marlins cobbled together 3 hits, none of them a thing of beauty, but it's 1-1.
They don't have to be pretty. I just wanted to treat me good. He found the right spot, broken bat, was able to beat it over there.
And he beat it. Really no question about that. Here's Ed Lucas now. And you see Ozuna was leaning forward on the swing, which gave him a little head start.
Broken bat, decelerated the ball a little bit, made it a tougher play.
Lucas a strikeout victim in the second. DeGrom has struck out 3. He's walked 1. Jones, a sun-kissed double. Ozuna, that broken back grounder for a hit. Lucas takes a breaking ball out. It's 1-1. It seems like for the Marlins over the last 3 weeks, you go back to that Oakland series, and every time the Marlins make a little mistake or have a break go against them, it hurts them. And oftentimes it has cost them ball games. But here you have the Mets with a mistake in right field on the Jones ball. And the Marlins make it hurt with Ozuna's hit, and they can make it hurt even more. And if Lucas can get a base hit. Fastball up. Lucas lays off.
Rich, you called it right there before the pitch. You knew where he's going because we watch these games with these Mets catchers. And they have a few guys in the Marlins lineup that they like to get with a high fastball with the counts 0-2, 1-2.
Lucas, one of those guys. Anthony Recker working behind the plate in this one. Another high fastball, and it gets Lucas. But Miami gets a run and ties it. That will stay with you a while, Preston. That'll stick to the ribs.
That'll stick to everything in there.
Brad Hand in a 1-1 ball game. He's got Juan Lagares, Chris Young, and Anthony Recker in the bottom of the 4th inning. It's Hand against Jacob deGrom. Mets got a run in the 2nd. Chris Young with the sacrifice fly. Lagares had a bunt hit. And he takes a fastball for a strike. Game's breaking out all over baseball right now on this final Sunday of the first half. Pirates may need some more McCutchen. They're down 3-1 to the Reds in the top of the 4th. That game is in Cincinnati, and the 2 home runs by McCutchen last night in Cincinnati. McGee can't get it, but it's a foul ball. McCutchen has tripled, just in case you're interested.
McCutchen always does something to help the ball club. He's dynamic. That's the best word to describe him. He's always going to affect you somehow.
fastball is up. The story in that Reds game is that the youngster they've called up, Christopher Negron, to play second base in the absence of Brandon Phillips, has hit a 3-run homer. There's a couple injuries in that Central that will affect, you would expect, those teams. Molina out for the Cardinals, Brandon Phillips out for the Reds. Certainly the early part of the second half. Tapper out to short. Echeverria pulls Jones off the bag. Jones pointing back to the bag as if to say he thought he got it. And Mike Redmond is going to make his way out very slowly.
We talked about things that have gotten good or worse this year. Echeverria has been doing that. You see that jerking his hands up at the end of the play? It wasn't that dramatic last year when he fielded the ball.
Well, I think he may have kept his foot on it.
I think you're right, Rich. But when you watch Echeverria field the ball, he gets it, and then he jerks his hands up really high to his chest. That's not a fluid motion. I don't think we saw it that drastic last year.
Marlins are going to challenge this. On those 2 replays, it did look like the foot stayed on. That's a difficult call for an umpire because the body's moving so far over and the foot is dragging across the bag, and the Marlins have decided to challenge.
And really, this is one of those plays why baseball needs replay, because that's asking a lot of that umpire to watch the ball go in the glove and to see the foot be on the bag. Like, that's a lot.
Now, you lose the foot there, obviously, in that view, but New York, which is just across the river, so to speak, the umpires over there are watching not only the Marlins feed but also the Mets feed, and the Mets have a couple of other angles as well as the ones that you've seen. This one looks like it's wrapping up pretty quickly. He's out. So nice job by Garrett Jones. Miami keeps the challenge. As we've seen, it's one of the interesting things about replay that I don't think anyone anticipated. Players have been more wrong than they've been right when they tell a manager challenge it, or hey, I was safe, or I was out, or I tagged them. We've seen a lot of that. Let's see it on this look.
So, Rich, what are you saying? Does it tell us that we just shouldn't listen to anybody? I see the great. Let's look back. He's got the toe dragging.
No, I think what I'm saying is that's a real surprise, is that players, and it goes back to before replay when players would argue about calls. If on replays players are more wrong than they're right, I'm sure there's a few umpires that have taken note of that and think back before replay and all the arguments they got from players saying, you know what, you guys are wrong more than you're right, and umpires are better oftentimes than you think they are.
No, but there's been a high percentage of overturned calls, hasn't there, as well, as far as the umpires getting it wrong?
Oh, absolutely. But what I'm saying is the reaction of the players on the field, oftentimes when they motion to the manager and say, hey, come out and challenge it, I was safe, or come on out, I got him. They've been wrong more than they've been right, those players have.
Yeah, and after a while, these managers are going to understand. In the heat of the battle, you may think something, and there's going to be some guys who are able to keep a calm head.
and along those same lines, I think announcers are wrong as well, because we see things from the naked eye, and you think, and as a fan too, watching in the ballpark or watching on television, you see a play and your reaction is, oh, he's out, naked eye, and then all of a sudden, now with replay, you're getting multiple views and many times in slow motion, and all of a sudden it's like, hey, you know what? He did get in under the tag, or he didn't tag him, or he did get him on the helmet.
You know, Rich, I have to give you credit, because that's something you do. If you see it one way or think you see it one way and it comes out the other way, you'll change it. Off
of hand, his leg, and he throws to first. in time to get the out.
And to further go on about that, some guys say they saw a play, and no matter what the replay says, they stick with what they think they saw at first. So that's a credit to you being a stand-up guy saying, look, I made a mistake. Wasn't what I thought. Some guys, they're taking it to their grave.
Well, Chuck Hernandez is out along with Mike Kozak of the Marlins training staff. Hand took this one off the right foot. Now in Chaska, Minnesota, in the winter, he might be wearing skates, and that might feel a little better. But baseball spikes these days are very thin material to make them as light as possible.
You just hope it didn't get on the ankle bone, right on the ankle. He hit the shoe, he's got a little protection there.
Hand says he's fine. He's got Ruben Tejada up with Chris Young out in scoring position. America's new sports network is the place to turn before every slam, every goal, every game. It's America's pregame only on Fox Sports 1. It streams live on Fox Sports Go. America's pregame weeknights 6 Eastern only on Fox Sports 1. To find Fox Sports 1 on your cable satellite provider, go to foxsports1.com. Marlins are going to walk Tejada. Now, Jacob deGrom is a good hitter for a pitcher. Remember, a college shortstop. He is 6 for 23 this year. And so deGrom will get a shot here with runners at first and at second. Washington has hopped out in front of Philly 3-0. That ball game in the bottom of the third inning. Jason Worth, a 2-run homer off of Kyle Kendrick. Braves and Cubs will play. Actually, they just started. Top of the first. Travis Wood is on the hill.
I'd like to see Brad Hand in attack mode right here. Because even though he's a good hitting pitcher, he's still a pitcher. You know, when he's standing on the mound, deGrom kind of looks like he's kind of filled out. But when he's standing there sideways, little Coco Pelli up there.
It's kind of a tall Tim Lincecum looking guy. It's like if you put a set of really long legs on Lincecum with the hair and even hitting left-handed. Counts 1 ball and 1 strike.
In South Carolina, they would call him Nara. Slim guy.
It's your neck of the woods.
Yes. The country boy comes out of me every now and then.
Hand misses up and in. deGrom does have a double. And that was against, we just mentioned Travis Wood's name. That was against Travis Wood, who ironically was the last guy to hit a home run against deGrom some 41 innings ago. And deGrom bangs one to the center field. That's a base hit, and that's the danger. And it's 2-1 Mets. He went after him with a fastball.
And wouldn't you know it, deGrom's first career RBI helps him out, gives him the go-ahead run in the game.
So deGrom is at first. Tejada the runner at second, and here's Granderson. Curveball, a strike, and it's 1-1. So the Marlins intentionally walk Tejada. DeGrom hurts him with an RBI single. Yelich, that falls. That's a hit. Tejada scores. DeGrom on the play looked like he stopped at second base. I don't know if he would have scored anyways, but the ball took a big hop. Looked like a fan actually touched the ball.
Yeah, you saw the umpire down at third.
Yeah, I think one of the umpires had that, and that's a double for Granderson. So the inning has spiraled a bit here.
You know, when it's happened for Brad Hand, it has come in a hurry.
Jacob Turner's up. And here's Eric Campbell now.
Mets are making him throw pitches. 21 pitches this inning. He's throwing strikes. But they're making him earn it.
Campbell 1 for 2 and a couple hits in this series. So a 10-game hit streak for the big right-handed bat. Now, maybe the biggest at bat in this inning was the walk to Chris Young, a one-out walk. Hand was hit on the foot by the Wrecker ground ball. The consecutive hits by the pitcher, Jacob deGrom, and then Curtis Granderson, giving the Mets a 3-1 lead, and Hand is all over the place.
You've got to remember, that ball hit him on the foot or the ankle. And I don't know, is that the same ankle that he sprained earlier? You know, you never know it. After a while, it could start to tighten up, swelling. I see him kind of wincing a little bit when he's moving around.
At the knees, a strike to Campbell. He would much rather go after Campbell than get David Wright. Whether he would pitch to David Wright or not is a question, with Turner ready and Wright's great success against lefties.
Rich, I will say this. I think there's a little bit too much professional courtesy between pitchers, because pitchers don't hit that much, and you give them a chance when they get to extend their arms. Good fastballs inside, most pitchers don't hit those. So men in scoring position, can't be afraid to tighten your buddy up a little bit. Get on the inside corner.
Campbell, McGee, it's a fair ball, and McGee, a smart play, goes to the plate to get the out. He wasn't going to get Campbell, but he saw deGrom not really busting it down the line. He goes home and gets the out. That's a terrific play by Casey McGee. and a chance to visit between innings with Marlins manager Mike Redmond. Well, Skip, let's talk about the first half, big picture-wise. What have you been pleased with? What would you like to see improve in the second half?
Well, I'm definitely happy with the effort. I mean, these guys bring it every single day. They're a resilient group. I've been saying it all year. We've taken a bunch of tough losses, especially this road trip, and they keep fighting and they keep battling. And I feel like we're never out of any game. And there's definitely areas, really in all aspects of the game that we need to get better at, that we can improve on. And a lot of one-run games again, and we got to do those things to put us over the hump. But a lot of good things have happened, and a much better ball club than we were last year, and we just got to keep going.
Red, you got to be awfully proud of your pitching staff. You lose Jose Fernandez. It's been a little rough every now and then, but those guys have pulled together. Bullpen's pitching really well.
Yeah.
Good effort from those guys.
Absolutely, great effort, and we got a lot of young guys, and I think we sometimes lose sight of that. But these guys are gaining a lot of experience, and they battle, and they're learning on the fly, and that's not easy in the big leagues, not only starting-wise, but bullpen-wise. So we just got to keep with it, stay positive, and get a nice 4 days off here is going to be huge for the guys. Guys are getting tired.
All right, I got 5 seconds. How's Brad Hand's foot?
He's okay. I think we're going to take him out right now.
All right, thanks, Skip.
Okay.
How about that? Mike Redmond making moves while visiting with us in between innings. Justin Bour is on deck, and that's Hand's spot in the order. Jacob deGrom helping himself with an RBI hit, and there's Bour scheduled second, and then Christian Yelich top of the order with Mathis up right now in a 1-2 count. And a liner that's foul. deGrom has struck out 4. He's walked 1. Miami has a run on 4 hits. Hand in his 4 innings, 2 walks, 1 strikeout. And so Jacob Turner heating up, and he'll be coming into this ball game.
And let's not forget that 1 run that he gave up came on that pop-up, that on the heels of that pop-up that both the second baseman and right fielder seem to have lost.
Heads up play by McGee certainly to finish the bottom of the 4th. With that tapper up the line, he saw deGrom get the late start to the plate, and Mathis swings and misses. And so here comes Bour.
That play by McGee that you're talking about really shows what happens when you're a veteran player. The game slows down. You recognize that that easy play is right there in front of you. You're still trying to make that hard throw across with a runner getting up the line pretty good. You take the easy play. The game slows down the longer you play this game.
Justin Bour still looking for his first pinch hit. Either that or an American League game where he can designate a hit, which he was a designated hitter for the Marlins in that spate of interleague games and had some success.
Everybody wants to be in the big leagues, but it's tough when you played every day. He's an everyday player in the minor leagues. He's in that lineup every day, anchoring the lineup on whatever team he's on. Now he's sitting on a bench, maybe not playing in the field 8, 9, 10 days at a time, might get a spot start, pinch hit off a tough guy. It's hard to be that mature of a hitter and to produce when you've never done that before.
He's behind the count 0-2. deGrom's changeup just misses outside. High fastball popped up right, ventures over, and just lost it. At the rail, got a glove on it. New life for Bour.
But David Wright did that right. He went to the fence first, found it, and then tries to reach over. He didn't jog over slowly and do that timing play. He beat the ball to the fence, and that way he was able to give the best effort possible to catch it. There's a lot to like about David Wright.
count evens at 2-2. He's been the face of the franchise for some time, and he will be for the foreseeable future. He signed through 2020. The hope is for Wright that it comes full circle. The Mets were competitive. They went to the postseason when he was a young player. And the hope is for him and for Met fans is that Sandy Alderson and the front office can build a team around him. There's a liner, but Campbell is up to make the catch. Not as fancy or as acrobatic as Daniel Murphy's catch yesterday. Campbell up to get it. Now Yelich has bounced out, single to left. It's a 1-1 ball game. Mets get a couple runs in the fourth, and DeGrom has quickly got 2 outs and quickly in front of Yelich.
I mean, if he can get this out right here, this is going to be a good shutdown inning. His team got him back in the lead, and he comes out and doesn't let the other team get on base to try to threaten for a run here.
He's not piling up the strikeouts quite like the Atlanta game. He struck out 11 in that game, but he's sitting at 5 right now.
With the stuff he has, you can see how they can mount up, though.
Wow, terrific pitch. And Yelich caught looking. 1, 2, 3 go the fish. Halfway through in New York. Mets up 3-1. Palmetto 57 Nissan and Palmetto 57 Volkswagen, home of your money-back guarantee. By Publix, where shopping is a pleasure. Visit us at Publix.com. Steak sandwich here at Citi Field. Last day of the first half, and Jacob Turner out of the bullpen.
You know, Rich, being in the booth with you is the only thing that makes it worth not being around all that food down there now.
Yeah, just keep it up. Just keep up. This, though, is for Jacob Turner an opportunity here. It's not been the best of season so far for Turner. Turner out of options, so the Marlins have been reluctant to send him down. If they did that, they would expose him. He's so young and has such good stuff that they're hopeful he's able to put it together and get himself back into the rotation.
It really is one of those odd things that comes up every now and then where a pitcher underperforms and he ties your hands.
Any player, you know, oftentimes there's a position player too, and the term out of options, there are only so many times you can send a player down to AAA, depending on his service time and the number of times he's been sent down, where there comes a point that if you do send him down, you expose him to 29 other teams. And if you, for a guy like Turner, do get exposed, that one down the left field line is foul. There's a team out there that is looking for pitching, that may have the roster spot or be in a position whether they're out of a race. They would probably claim him, and you would lose him
in a minute. He's got great stuff. He's still very young, like 22 years old.
Fastball misses down low.
He just has to get the pitching part of it together as far as location, consistency. But I think he's going to be one of the Marlins' top pitchers when he does get it together.
Right, Stanton towards the line. That falls fair and bounces into the seats. David Wright has a double, his 23rd of the season, and leads off the 5th against Jacob Turner. Family Sunday. The Marlins and the Giants, a 110 start. Pepsi 4 for 54 pack. Get your 4 tickets, 4 KMB Franks, 4 Pepsi soft drinks start at just $54. All fans get a Marlins All-Star poster courtesy of Franklin Dodd Communications. Go to Marlins.com for tickets.
It's a great job covering that outside part of the plate by David Wright.
Well, now Lucas Duda, Juan Lagares also scheduled.
Watch this. Watch the coverage that he has. Look at that. His barrel is extending past the plate. You have to have that. Right now, when you look at Giancarlo Stanton, he doesn't quite have that. He said Jacob Turner was 22. He's 23 now.
Just turned 23.
Snuck one by me.
You were close.
He snuck one by the goalie. That's all right. We try to stay on top of these things.
Duda takes a mean rip. You get a sense for Lucas Duda that, you know, with Ike Davis being dealt to the Pirates, Duda no longer has to roam the outfield, which he never really was comfortable doing. He settled in at first. You wouldn't call him a masher, but he is starting to get productive.
But I think along with moving him to the outfield, he was going through a transition where the Mets were wanting him to hit for a little bit more power because he's a big guy, but he's always been more comfortable hitting the ball gap to gap. And his production really fell off when he was pulling the ball more.
Well, if he can hit gap to gap in this part, he can have some success. 3-1 count. Lucas Duda, our Toyota Trend. The Mets have hit home runs in 10 of their last 11 games at Citi Field. And since June 17th, they have 26 home runs, and that leads the National League. Remember how woeful the Mets were power-wise in this ballpark when it first opened. Duda swings and misses.
Good late movement on that pitch right there from Jacob Turner. We talk about pitchers having, he has movement on his fastball on both sides of the plate.
You see the power surge. The Mets are still 3rd lowest in the National League. Tapper, Turner off the mound. That's a foul ball. Milwaukee has taken a 2-0 lead early against St. Louis. We've been talking about that Central race, how the entire first half it seemed like the Brewers had a 5 or a 6 game lead. Well, the Cardinals have caught him. The Reds are a game and a half back, and the Pirates are 2.5 back. Milwaukee and St. Louis atop the division. High pop. Yelich and Ozuna converge. Yelich makes the catch. Good play by Wright. If Ozuna catches it, Wright doesn't run. Yelich caught it, and Wright bolted.
Ozuna has to take control as a center fielder. He's going towards third base. He's got the better arm. You cannot let the left fielder catch that ball. There's everything wrong with this play with Christian Yelich making that play. He's got the weaker arm. He's moving away from third base. You can't let him catch that ball. And that's part of the things you see in the youth of the Marlins. It may not show up in a stat, but that base would not have happened if Ozuna catches that ball.
And now Lagares with the infield drawn in and 1 out. And Mike Redmond has said this a number of times for the Marlins, a young, much improved team. There still is that slender margin where a mistake like that, it really showed in the Oakland series. A mistake like that can open the door and really hurt you. And that one's blasted to center. Ozuna back, turns, looks, and lost it. It's over his head. It's off the wall. And Lagares has himself a double. And that one really got Ozuna mixed up in center. We haven't seen that a lot out of Ozuna.
Whenever I see an outfielder do that, I'm thinking that maybe he was still thinking about the last play, because you don't see him get turned around like that. You don't see him get bad jumps. So that tells me that maybe he was in the back of his head still thinking about what he should have done on the last play, and it affected this play.
And so Chris Young climbs in. And the Mets lead is now 4-1.
We got to clean this up. The Marlins have to start working and thinking about anticipation, because a lot of your plays are made before the ball is hit. Ozuna's understanding, if this ball is hit, I want to take that because I got the strong arm. I'm going towards third base. A lot of your plays are made before the ball is hit because you've already seen it happen or anticipated it.
Three 3-0 now, and a couple of doubles. Still only 1 out. The first inning for Jacob Turner. Brad Hand made the start for Miami. Hand 4 innings, 3 runs, 6 hits. And a walk to Young. And up comes Recker. Well, the next pitching matchup to talk about, don't know yet. Giants and Marlins haven't announced starters for that series, but the series starts Friday 7-10. Marlins have won 60 in the last 25 against the Giants, who are on an even year at 2014 World Championships in 10 and in 12. San Francisco sits a game back behind the Dodgers in the West. Padres are playing better, but still sit 11 back. The Rockies, I think, have been a disappointment. 12 back.
The Rockies, when they lost Carlos Gomez for that stretch, that took a big chunk out of their lineup. He's back now. He had a surgery on a finger that was giving him trouble.
Now Anthony Recker climbs in.
think it's pretty obvious to see Turner wanted nothing to do with Chris Young in that at bat. Go after Recker and try to get Tejada to get himself out of this inning. And there's nothing wrong with that.
Well, he's 1-1 now on record. Of course, the problem of pitching around a guy. Young has had a couple of good at-bats in this series, but his hitting at 200 is if you pitch around a guy, you've got to be able to dial it back in the next hitter you face. Counts 1-2.
Turner back up. This is a big pitch for him right here. 1-2. You can either use this as a setup pitch or you can go for the punch out right here.
And he gets the strikeout. So he strikes out Recker. And here comes Tejada. Late game tonight, Yankees and Baltimore. A lot of games on the West Coast. Padres and Dodgers. Oakland and Seattle have had a very good series out in Seattle. And Seattle beating Oakland twice, including a classic matchup on Friday with the King Felix against Jeff Samardzija. Popped up, and Lucas, looking into the sun, makes the catch. Mets get another run on a pair of doubles, and it's 4-1. Sights and sounds from Flushing. Three-game series coming to a close. First half coming to a close. Rich Waltz along with Preston Wilson. Allison Williams, 81 degrees, partly cloudy. And the Mets have dominated this series. They've won the first two games, and right now, the way Jacob deGrom is pitching, Terry Collins has to feel pretty good with a 4-1 lead into the sixth.
What he's got to feel good about is every time his team has gotten in scoring position and threatening, they've done the right things to either get the runner, to advance him, or to make him score.
Jacob deGrom now. Echeverria, Stanton, McGee in the 6th. And Echeverria flips one into the seats, foul. Word out of Miami's clubhouse. Brad Hand left the game with a right shin contusion. He's listed as day-to-day, and I guess if you're going to be listed on any day in the baseball season as day-to-day, it would be the last game of the first half. You got the whole All-Star break to feel better. Echeverria fouls it off. And the story for the Mets, a really nice story in the first half, is Jacob deGrom. His record certainly not indicative of how well he's thrown. He is 2-5, but his ERA is in the low 3s. Granderson into the corner, leaps. Not sure if a fan hit it or it hit the railing.
I'm looking at him and I'm seeing pauses and hesitations. He doesn't look like he's comfortable in right field here, Shea. Maybe it's just day games, but I'm looking at him. The fan hit that ball. But when he goes to that, he should get to the fence first. But instead, he's hesitating, pausing, and then it creates that. On the play where the second baseman, the ball fell between he and the second baseman, same thing. He stops, slows down.
Echeverria lobs this one into right field, and that's a base hit. So Miami has a runner in front of Stanton. And the struggles of Giancarlo Stanton, we've talked about it on this road trip, have continued here. He's walked and he has struck out. He's 1 for 8 in this series. And on the trip in which the Marlins have won just 3 of 8 games, Stanton is 4 for 33. Pulls that one foul. Oh, 0-1. I guess after watching him in the first half, you forget that he's merely mortal. Because an MVP type first half has been so consistent, so productive, so patient. Echeverria, the runner at first. Stanton takes in Coors Cold Hard Fact. Home runs before the All-Star break. Mike Lowell had that great 2003. Sheffield, Hanley in 08. Ugla in 08. Also had 23. Echeverria's running, pitches up, and the throw is way off. And a stolen base. And so Adeiny Echeverria with a stolen base.
Nice job, got a good jump. Last year, there were sometimes he'd get a good jump. Sometimes you think he'd go maybe on a pitch where he shouldn't go. He's gotten a lot better this year at accelerating out of his break. Didn't really get the landing gear down right there, but still got there easily and early.
5th stolen base. Now let's see what Stanton gets with 3 and 1. Full count, 3 and 2.
Well, it's just been confirmed. DeGrom does watch a lot of ESPN or cable or Fox Sports 1 because he's not just going to throw a fastball right there. He's seen what Stanton can do.
DeGrom has 6 strikeouts. 3 of them have ended innings, so he's had some big strikeouts. This would be a big one here. Stanton takes in, and Giancarlo walks. So I think a good sign to see Stanton walk twice here. He trots down to first. Miami's got runners first and second. McGee is coming up, but Dan Warthen, the pitching coach for the Mets, is on his way out. Carlos Torres, right-hander, whom the Marlins saw an inning's worth of yesterday. He worked a 1-2-3 7 in relief of Daisuke Matsuzaka. McGee with another hit, and for Casey McGee, he will end the first half probably in the top 5 in batting average, 4th coming in at .319. Right on the periphery in RBIs, he's 10th right now. Runners in scoring position, still atop that list. 389. He comes up with Echeverria in scoring position, Stanton at first. He was tied with Andrew McCutchen at the start of play at 114 hits for the National League lead, and both McCutchen and McGee have a hit in this ball game. Recker on his way out to talk to DeGrom. It got us thinking, all right, so now McCutchen and McGee have 115 hits. How does that compare to the American League leader? Well, Jose Altuve is a hit machine. He may be 5'5", but Altuve's got 130 hits already. Off the end of the bat, out there, and the turn out there. And McGee bounces into a double play. Campbell, Tejada, turn it. If the Marlins are going to get anything out of this inning, they need Garrett Jones either to drive in a run or keep the line moving. Jones' double in the 4th was a pop-up into right field that fell behind Eric Campbell and in front of Curtis Granderson. Boy, DeGrom got into some trouble. The single to Echeverria, the walk to Stanton. But he's a strike away from getting out of trouble. And he got him. 4 of his 7 strikeouts have ended innings. And it's 4-1 Mets. Tough road trip for Giancarlo Stanton. Preston Wilson, what do you see?
I see it's really an issue of a little bit of plate coverage. He's got a little bit more flex in his knees there when he's in the home white uniform. He's seeing more standing tall up now. And now as he's approaching that ball, he's got a little bit more distance covering the plate away. Today, the bat is just getting to the outside corner. That could be it. It could be just a little bit of flex.
It doesn't look like he's standing any further or any closer. It looks like he's identical in the spot in the box.
But when you flex your knees, your upper body gets closer to the plate because you're bending over a little bit. That's your extension.
Jacob deGrom pops one into left. Yelich is there to make the catch. And deGrom, who had a big RBI single in the fourth, is out number one here in the sixth. This is another home run swing from earlier in the year.
See, his knees are already bent. See, he's bent. He's not standing up as tall as he is right now. And he's able to get through the ball. His bat stays in the zone longer. How do I know? Because I messed it up enough to know that when I stood up tall, my bat arced in and out of the zone really quickly. You don't have that flatter path.
Who did you rely on to remind you or to get you back where you needed to be?
There's a whole league out there that you can get from the guys you talk to during the league. Your teammates. You know, you say, hey, keep an eye on me. What do you see here? And I'll do the same thing for you. And that's how you help each other. It's not always your coaches that fix the problems.
Curtis Granderson on a 2-for-3 day. It's Jacob Turner out there right now. He took over in the fifth. Brad Hand had a shin contusion right above the ankle. He was clipped on a hard smash off the bat of Anthony Recker. This one to center, angling away from Ozuna, who picks it up on a hop. And Granderson has a 3-hit day here. We check in with Allison Williams.
Well, guys, Curtis Granderson, often called the Grandy Man, and he did something pretty grand for his alma mater, University of Illinois, Chicago. He donated $5 million of the $10 million needed to build this new baseball park. It's an absolute beauty, and it's a place that's really near and dear to his heart. He works out there during the off season. He, of course, graduated from University of Illinois, Chicago, and he was actually on hand to throw out the first pitch in their first game in their brand new ballpark. It also includes a 50,000 square foot indoor facility, which they'll be using to host youth baseball throughout the year, and I'm sure he'll be using when he's there in the off season as well. So according to the University of Illinois Chicago, it is actually the largest donation to an alma mater by a professional athlete, the $5 million needed to build what is now Curtis Granderson Stadium.
Well, that's great to hear, and that is a large check to write for an athlete. Granderson away from first, and Turner chases him back. And University of Illinois Chicago, if that does in fact become a magnet for kids around Chicago for a place to play, especially in the winter, if it's got that big indoor facility, that's terrific. I think people in South Florida, in the baseball community, youth community, kids growing up, high school, travel ball, all that, take for granted facilities and fields. And there's a lot of cities that don't have that. New York would be one of those.
It's kind of hard to have the real estate for the size of a baseball field to fit in.
Washington, D.C. doesn't have a lot of that. Swing and a miss by Eric Campbell. Turner gets a strikeout.
I know we were talking right there, but that was a nasty slider by Turner.
And that's what keeps Turner right now in the big leagues right, is the ability, that type of stuff. David Wright's bounced out, flied out, doubled. Mets have 9 hits to go with their 4 runs. Wright has not hit Turner in his career. Ball and a strike. Like Bredman, Chuck Hernandez talking about Miami's rotation and what it will look like come Friday. And they're still trying to piece it together, figure out who starts. If needed in the All-Star game, Henderson Alvarez is certainly rested and ready to go.
Watch Granderson. He looks like he's trying to set Jacob Turner up. When Jacob Turner's peeking, he's leaning back towards first base just a little bit. Sometimes that's to make that pitcher think that you're thinking about getting back instead of stealing the base. You can very easily transition out of that rock into a dead sprint to second base.
He's running, and that's a fair ball. Down the line it goes, off the tarp, it kicks towards Yelich. Granderson around third, on his way to the plate. Yelich's throw, he is out at the plate, and this may be, hold on, the umpires right now are coming to home plate, and they're saying he's safe. And that's an umpire that came from out at second base.
I think that's the clean lane or clear lane.
Oh, it is. It just surprises it's not the home plate umpire that called it. It was a base umpire that called it.
You mean the furthest one away? Was it the second base umpire? I think that made that call. Yeah, he's clearly blocking the plate right there.
Yeah, he doesn't have the ball, and he blocked the plate. I don't think Miami has much of an argument here. That's old school. No. Mathis put his foot out, blocked the plate.
Now that is that's what they're using to avoid the contact, is to keep that catcher from blocking the plate. Because other than that, you have no other choice but to run the guy over or to try to slide aggressively through his leg. I really didn't think I would see that call made that way. I mean, he's clearly sitting on that.
He doesn't have the ball, and his foot is blocking the plate.
Granderson does the right thing by sliding his foot into that shin guard.
Yes, and that's a great point, Preston. We've seen so many times in plays like that, guys trying to slide around and touch with their hand or go head first, and they don't get that call because there's not that clean contact that's definitive before the ball arrived. Duda takes, that's a swing. All right, here's the play in real time. Watch the home plate umpire call him out. And the umpire at second immediately came down.
He was on a dead sprint. You got to give him credit. That's good communication. He said, I saw it from second base. There was no clear path. Like to see when umpires hustle. That's a good job by them. We get on them so much when they don't move to make a call and we feel like they're out of position. That's good effort by the umpire.
The 1-2 to Lucas Duda. Of course, if the ball arrives a second or two earlier, Mathis has the ball and is not blocking the play. Once you have the ball, you can put your foot out. You're fair game if you're in front of the plate.
in that situation, or are they saying he needs to be more out of the baseline until he gets the ball?
Joe Torre and Major League Baseball, when they designed this, and they have tweaked this as well due to swings and misses. We'll get back to it when we return. It's an interesting discussion. We've seen it called both ways. This one goes the Mets' way. And it's their 5th run in a 5-1 game. Discussion. One of the things that Major League Baseball wants to see happen with this rule is more runners go feet first right at the plate. And that's, to your point and to Granderson's credit, something that he did that forced the contact before the ball got there.
He makes it known to the umpire that he's going directly towards the plate. So now it really emphasizes the fact that Mathis's foot is in the baseline. He's waiting there all that time, doesn't have the ball. That's blocking the plate. They don't want catchers to do that anymore. They want that foot that's in the baseline, out of the baseline until he gets the ball.
And here's the reason why. If you're Granderson, and in that case, you go feet first and you're called out, well, then the next time you come down and you see a foot in front of the plate, you're not going to go feet first. You may run him over. And obviously that's what they're trying to avoid.
The key to this whole thing is home plate doesn't belong to anybody. He has just the base runner has a right to it, just like the catcher has a right to it once he catches the ball to try to stop the runner from scoring. It's not the catcher's plate to block.
And the important part of that phrase is once he catches the ball.
Yes.
So here's Ozuna in a 5-1 game. And through all this, Jacob deGrom has been splendid for the Mets. And deGrom misses high. It's 2-2. Jacob deGrom is just 26 out of Stetson University.
Patterns. That's another 1-2 high fastball.
Ozuna lines that one left field, and he hit it on the button, and Chris Young makes the catch.
That ball was scalded.
You can't hit it much harder.
He hit it too hard. The ball didn't have time to come down.
Here's Ed Lucas. Mathis on deck, and deGrom misses away. 7 strikeouts, 2 walks, just 5 hits. deGrom trying to get into the 7th.
DeGrom just seems to be feeling it. Like, he's got a good feel for everything today. He's expanding the zone when he wants to. He's being able to throw his curveball for strikes. He's looking good.
Lucas fouls that one out of play. Lucas fouls it back. You know, one of the first things that went through my mind when the second base umpire Will Little came down from second on the plate at the plate was that maybe something happened with the base runner. And watch this. Watch Granderson coming around. You think he could have called obstruction on that? As Lucas goes down.
I think Lucas tried to avoid him, but you saw Lucas peeking out the corner of his eye. He saw Granderson coming.
Now from this angle, watch Granderson's right arm. Boy, if he called obstruction on that.
No, I think he's. Well, I don't know about that. I don't know about that. That can't be obstruction. Because that's just a change of direction that he's used to hit the bag. Is you kind of use your arm as a rudder to get your balance back.
Terry Collins was definitely racing out of the dugout to argue blocking the plate. And I think watching the replay, he did block the plate. But there's a possibility that that rule never was in effect, that Will Little was saying that Lucas got in Granderson's way.
You know, and it's one of those odd plays, but you do have to kind of sprint out of the way when you see that base runner coming. Because he's going directly at the bag, sort of. He's not taking that big right turn, so he's coming right at you. It's not an easy thing to do, but you do have to try to get out of the way. But I don't think it was obstruction anyway.
And we said it. It just seems odd that the second base umpire would come down and rule on a blocking the plate play. So I'm guessing that the call was that Lucas interfered with the runner. Wright missed that play earlier. He gets a chance to make it again, and he snatches it. We'll investigate. We'll see if we can get anything. 5-1 Mets. Call on Granderson coming to the plate. Will Little, the second base umpire. Here's Granderson as he's rounding second. Lucas trying to get out of the way. Granderson, from that angle, it looked like, hey, there might have been some contact. Will Little comes in. And it looks like he is calling obstruction, calls him safe. Ed Lucas is in disbelief. And he's trying to explain to Mike Redmond.
When you don't see contact, you wonder how he comes to that conclusion that it's obstruction, if indeed that was the call.
Well, here's a look. There's no contact.
No, the feet don't collide. The arm doesn't touch. You can't make a call on an assumption of what could have happened.
I mean, if Granderson is obstructed, he runs into him.
Yes.
If he alters his to get out of his way, he's just getting out of his way.
He's a rookie umpire. It happens, you know.
However, to finish the story, Mathis blocked the plate without the ball, and so I think he's going to be safe anyways.
So we went the long way around to get the
right.
Okay,
I mean,
we got the right result.
I think the end result is probably fair. You know, watching Ted Barrett after he called him out, it was almost like, okay, I'm going to go get on the headphones on this one. It's 5-1. Watch when Granderson comes around. You can see he's pointing at the base already. And so he's already got his hand up saying that he had already called obstruction. And here is Lagares. I had a chance to stick my head over and talk to Keith and Gary, see what they thought over in the Mets booth. And they were on the same page as we are. That obstruction was called, but they didn't see obstruction. And that Mathis did block the plate without the ball, and that would have been called.
Yeah, we would like to see the rules that they've gone through all this trouble to enforce, or to put in, actually get enforced. The blocking the plate, clearest case of it I've seen this year.
Never got to be reviewed. Never. The guys in New York were probably already queuing it up and watching it, and then, as it turns out, it was obstruction, and nobody got the headphones on, and it's 5-1. Lagares, Young, and Recker here in the seventh. And Turner finishes off Lagares. Corona All-Star watch parties coming up on Tuesday at Lost Weekend in Miami Beach. National League takes on the American League at 8 on Fox. Win prizes, meet Billy and the Energy Team. Enjoy $3 Corona Light drafts during the game. For more info, go to marlins.com. Well, Jacob Turner has struck out 4 now in 2 1/3 innings. He's been charged with 2 runs.
Chris Young, sac fly, 2 walks. Scored a run. Productive day, even without getting a hit, coming on the heels of the big home run late in the game yesterday.
Yeah, 1 pitch yesterday, a 2-run homer. Turner's 2-1. Young lifts one. Jones over for a look. And it's out of play.
Marlins scored their run in the fourth. Mets have done a good job of adding on, playing good fundamental baseball. 2 in the fourth, 1 each in the 5th and 6th inning, extending their lead.
And if you're looking for a reason why the Marlins have struggled on this road trip, it's because Preston used the singular in that sentence. The Marlins have scored their run. Miami has not scored much at all on this trip. They're 3-5 on the road trip. McGee picks it up. Young is fast, and he's going to beat it. Got down to a knee, and it got through him.
When you start hitting the ball through people, you're hitting the ball really hard. And that's Casey McGee over there. That ball was absolutely scorched. You could hear it off the bat. I mean, there's nothing you can do right there. You have no reaction time. You're just basically trying to knock it out. They gave that an error.
Wow, really? McGee gets an error.
Got to be kidding me on that. There's no way that stays an error. Somebody got to go talk about that one. Time to pull out the WWTD bracelets. What would Tommy do? I think Tommy would have something to say about that.
What would Tommy do? Very nice. Well, the play at the plate thing, the play at the plate would have set him off. And then the obstruction thing, he would have gone even higher.
He would have never seen that play, you're saying, because he'd been just stressed out and having to get himself back together from the first 2 arguments.
Oh, no. That one would have gotten him going. He's a hitter. He likes...
Yeah.
In fact, I'm getting a text from, it looks like a Colorado number. And it's you got to be kidding me. In fact, we've got the AT&T fan photo coming up, and it might just be Tommy in mid-rant form. Even though he is taking a few days off.
Just for T. Hut, they let his tweets be 240 characters.
That's right. Wrecker's pop sends Echeverria out, Yelich in. And Yelich makes the catch. All right, here is the fan photo. I don't know if T. Hut got his in time. We'll see. Brought to you by AT&T, hashtag FL fan photo. Jim. Jim and his friends. Good photo by Jim.
Yeah, I like it. Fan photo. Big smiles, happy faces.
Tejada. Ruben Tejada on 0 for 2. Big moment in the ball game in the 4th when he was intentionally walked, and Jacob deGrom had an RBI single.
It's a big out to get because you stop the lineup from rolling over. If you get this out, probably going to change pitchers anyway, but it's going to force an extra player out of the other team.
Jury's Familia in the bullpen. 5-1 Mets. Bottom 7. There was a time when Young was a real stolen base threat. Speedster out of Houston when he was with Arizona. Had a 28 stolen base season, 27 homers as well.
Put up big numbers. speed on the bases, power, played a good outfield.
Bobby Abreu has a bat, and he's on deck. Young bluffs bouncer to Echeverria. Gets the out the short way to Lucas. And Jacob Turner gets through the 7th. On to the 8th. Miami has work to do. They're down 5-1. A lot of Jacob deGrom. 7 innings, 5 hits, a run, and he's lined up for the win. Marlins here the 8th, down 5-1. Christian Yelich has extended his hit streak to 10 games. Let's check in with Allison Williams. Hey, Dub.
If you were watching the game on Friday, you remember we talked about the solar phenom going on here in Manhattan this weekend. It only happens 4 times a year. It's at Manhattan Henge, and it happened Friday night, Saturday. Basically, when the sun sets, it aligns perfectly with the grid, the street grid in Manhattan. And you can see some shots there from Jason Sens, who was out photographing the event last night, and it's pretty cool. So a lot of people out to watch it and photograph it as well, because it's a fairly rare occurrence. Only happens now and then. You can see it. The sun illuminates both the north and south side of the cross streets there. So there you go. Manhattan Henge taking place while we are here in New York City this weekend. They have the opposite in the winter when the sun rises. It happens around December, and it's perfectly lined up, but just twice a year where it sets like that. And it happened earlier in May, and then just this weekend as well. So good shots there. Thanks to the friends of our crack staff.
How you doing down there in that heat, A-Dub?
I'm hanging in there. I'm hanging in there, Preston. It was really warm like the first 5 innings.
When that sun comes out, does it reflect all the rays up at you like, yeah?
Yeah, I think I might have got a little tan today.
Yeah.
That's all right. Everybody gets a break here for 4 days. Juris Familia gives Jacob deGrom a break. Donovan Solano gets the at-bat. 8th inning begins. Miami down 5-1. And Familia misses with a fastball. So deGrom, 7 innings, 5 hits, just the 1 run, 8 strikeouts. And the Mets have an emerging starter on their hands here with deGrom. That's his 12th start, Preston. His ERA is 3.18.
When you have that movement, velocity, and 3 pitches that he threw for strikes today, almost at will. He was able to expand the strike zone. He missed when he wanted to away from the plate. Put all those together, good outings.
Jacob Turner goes 3 innings, 4 hits, 2 runs, a walk and 4 strikeouts. Turner's ERA at 6.22. Solano cracks one right, robs him, and then throws him out. Terrific play by David Wright.
Solano does a good job. Got his hands through that ball, barreling on him, got that bat head on it. Unfortunately, that guy over there is really good. I seem to like David Wright a lot better when we don't play against him.
Wright won Gold Gloves back in 07 and 08.
Does that make me selfish?
No. Here's Christian Yelich. Dead straight for Yelich, headed towards the break, including a 1-for-3 ball game.
Took that ball there, looked like a pretty much center cut.
Kevin Gregg getting ready.
That's when you know that they're saying, let's get a strike. Let's make sure we see a strike here.
One and two. Nationals are pounding the Phillies 7-1. Braves are pounding the Cubs 7-0.
99. That ball got up there in a hurry. Some 99 doesn't really look like that ball was on Yelich very quickly.
$28,187 at the ballpark. Over 35,000 yesterday for the Marlins, the Mets, and Huey Lewis and the News. Yelich has the count now full, 3-2. Just 22.
Got a great upside. Can do a lot of things on the baseball field.
Echeverria waits on deck. Marlins have the Giants to open the second half and then are right back on the road with 4 in Atlanta, 3 in Houston. August brings a lot of games against the Central. Especially early August. Marlins have a 3-gamer with the Reds, go to Pittsburgh, go to Cincinnati, and are home against the Cardinals. Interleague play, obviously still some games with the 3 games in Houston. And then Texas comes to Miami in August, and the Marlins go to Anaheim to face the Los Angeles Angels of Anaheim. And Yelich walks.
When you look at that sequence, the 2-2 curveball that he tried to throw him is the pitch that stands out to me. You throw 99, your team's up by 4 runs, get after him.
Echeverria and then Stanton.
Managers would rather you give up a solo home run than to start walking guys. Home runs don't start rallies, they end them. When you got action on the bases, people out of position, holes open up.
That one in, almost clipped Echeverria. Speaking of that, the Angels today placed Colin Cowgill on the 15-day DL. I don't know if you saw the video of him trying to bunt. Here's the fastball that got in. Cowgill trying to bunt, fractured his right thumb and suffered a facial fracture when the ball bounced off the thumb and right into his face. It happened in the 8th inning in last night's ball game.
That's a rough go. I mean, thumb and the nose.
He had squared around and the pitch was in, and he was trying to avoid the pitch when it hit the thumb and then got him in the face. Echeverria takes inside.
It does take courage to sack bunt because you are putting yourself, in a pretty vulnerable position facing the pitcher. I'm glad most guys don't do that where they took their back foot and put it towards the plate like they used to do sometimes. Now they just take the lead foot and get closer to the plate.
A strike, and it's 3-1 now to Echeverria. What Terry Collins is hoping doesn't happen is that Familia put some guys on in front of Stanton and give the Marlins a chance to jump right back in it. Good pitch to hit, and he was just late on it. 97, you can see why, though.
When you got that on a 4-run lead, you should not be throwing 2-2 breaking balls.
Three-two. On the ground, Campbell. High flip. And out at first and at second on the double play. And Miami's 8th ends quickly. Bottom 8 in Flushing. MLB.TV Premium, #1 live streaming sports service. And it's celebrating 12 years. Millions of subscribers. Every out-of-market game streamed live online or on the go in true HD. MLB.TV Premium gets you a free At-Bat 14 subscription. Allows you to watch live baseball on over 400 mobile and connected devices. Blackout and other restrictions apply. Kevin Gregg takes over, and he gets the bottom of the 8th. You get EY Jr. right out of the chute, who will pinch hit. Young, Granderson, and Campbell. This was a Brad Hand start. In 4 innings, he gave up 3 runs. He was hit on the lower right shin on a comebacker. Left the game after 4. Jacob Turner for 3 innings. He gave up 2 runs. And Eric Young Jr. has a pinch hit.
That ball is well struck. And now there's a base stealer on first. Eric Young Jr. does a good job of sizing pitchers up, paying attention to their keys for him to steal.
He's got 23 stolen bases. He's only been caught 3 times. And he's running. Mathis's throw is on the bag, but no chance to get Young. Who, as we have told you after visiting with him, is a guy, a base stealer that goes feet first, which is a rarity in the game today.
When you get jumps like he jumps, you think like the jumps he gets, you can go anywhere you want. He does a good job. He accelerates well in that direct line to the bag.
So 24 bags for Young, who has just 202 at bats. And he, like you, grew up around the game. His father, a very good major league player. People talk about the advantage of growing up in the clubhouse and with a major league dad. What are the pressures? What's the downside of that?
The downside is thinking you have to live up to your predecessor, whether it be your dad, your uncle, whoever else it was. You are who you are, and you can't play to try to be their career. You know, Barry Bonds and Bobby Bonds Jr., 2 totally different players. They can't try to be each other. So I think the hardest thing is to try to make sure you're not comparing yourself to your dad.
Well, you were a very different player than your dad, right?
Yes.
Although EY Jr. is a lot like his dad.
But I'll tell you this, and this is one thing that I'll always take with me. I could run really well. My dad was very fast. I never wanted to know the day that I could outrun my dad. We never raced. It's something I never want to know that I could beat him running.
What about pickup basketball in the front?
I'll take him down.
Drive, yeah.
No chance. Foam finger and all.
He would be playing the role of Robert Duvall in that case. Was there a moment where was it basketball or any moment where all of a sudden your dad realized that, hey, Junior's pretty good?
I think he could see my coordination really start getting together. Junior year, high school, started figuring out a little bit. Sophomore, junior year, let's say, was then.
Well, after the hit and the stolen base by Young, a walk to Granderson. Here's Campbell. Campbell 1 for 4. That 1 extends a hit streak to 10 games. Halftime of the World Cup final, 0-0. for those of you that are happening by this one. Marlins and Mets finishing off a 3-game series. And the Marlins stumbling to the break somewhat. The Mets, on the other hand, are racing to the break. If New York wins this ball game, they will have won 7 of 8. Runners on the move. Mathis's throw is behind the second runner, and it's up the line. Lucas can't field it. Granderson is the back end of a double steal.
There's pluses and minuses. You get to get a bigger lead at first because the first baseman isn't holding you on. But you have to wait to see what that lead base runner is doing.
Infield is in. There's nobody out. Mathis smothers it. I mean, Eric Young Jr. is making the most of a pinch hitting appearance. He gets a pinch hit. Now he's got 2 stolen bases.
That's making an impact. Make him notice you.
Marlins live post game presented by Checkers. Craig Minervini, Carl Pavano, first half recap. And that's not of the World Cup game. That's Marlins Live, Checkers. Post-game comments from Mike Redmond as well. And the inning has not started well for Kevin Gregg. Single, 3 stolen bases, 2 walks. And now David Wright comes up with the bags juiced. He's 2 for 4. Mike Redmond wants time. And you saw him signal Jeff Mathis to come out and talk with Kevin Gregg. It's the universal sign for go on out there and give me a chance. And here comes Redmond.
Like you said, the Mets are going into this break. Got to be very happy about all the things they've done the last few series to make themselves be a better ball club. I think the Marlins got a few questions that they know they got to answer.
Chris Hatcher coming out of the pen. 5-1 Mets, bottom 8, bags loaded. David Wright at the plate. Loaded and nobody out, and David Wright coming up. Rich Waltz along with Preston Wilson, Allison Williams. Chris Hatcher is the 3rd out of the bullpen, the 4th to work. Brad Hand, Jacob Turner, Kevin Gregg, and now Hatcher. And David Wright, with 4 career grand slams, comes to the plate.
It's not really a guy you want in this situation when you're talking about trying to feel better about yourself going into the break. But Chris Hatcher has a chance right here to help his team out of a tough spot.
What makes it even tougher is Miami's got the infield in, trying to choke off a run. And that's a speedy run at third in Eric Young Jr. Granderson's the runner at second. Eric Campbell is at first. And Hatcher faces Wright, who sends one down the right field line, foul. Look at the numbers against Miami this year. And in this series, 6 hits in 11 at bats. He's driven in 3 and has homered. Bases filled with Metropolitans. Young, Granderson, Campbell.
I think Hatcher needs to get that sinker inside, but he's got to get it on the plate. Because if there is a place where you can get to David Wright, it's inside. You don't want him to extend. He does such a good job of letting the ball get deep, keeping the bat head behind and driving that ball into right center.
It's 3-1 now. Five walks in the ballgame for Marlin pitching. Now 2 of those walks are out on base. 2 of those walks have scored. That was back in the 4th inning. Count full, 3-2. Hatcher and Wright. You've got Duda and Lagares waiting in the wings. And he lost him. And it's 6-1. So a messy inning. Gets a little sloppier. Here comes Duda.
Walks is what you don't want. That's a tough one right there. But it doesn't get any easier. Lucas Duda's hot. So we got to contend with this.
Duda has doubled. And a strike. USC, where Duda went to school. And a Tommy John survivor, so to speak. He had a Tommy John surgery in high school. He was geared up for Hatcher's fastball.
He turned it loose right there. That's when you got to turn him back to the plate and button up your top button again.
The infield's still in. Hatcher bounces one. Nationals are blowing out the Phillies 8-1. That's late. Jason Worth had a 3-run homer early. Ryan Zimmerman a solo shot. Zimmerman's playing third base. In case you're curious on that. Into center field. Duda's got a base hit. It'll score 1 run. And the Mets add on 7-1.
That looked like the split or the change up there. Just didn't quite get down. Lucas Duda swinging a hot bat. He's in a good, strong position to react to that pitch. Lets it travel. Sends it back up the middle.
Bag still loaded. Lagares. And there's still nobody out. Oh, and 1. Mets have added on with 2 here in the 8th. Mets bullpen is in motion. Marlins bullpen right now still. Lagares after a breaking ball. 1-2. Campbell right, Duda.
I want to see that 97 right here.
You got 96. You okay with that?
The pitch before that was a changeup. And in this situation, don't want him throwing too many back-to-back changeups. Don't let him see it that much. Throw that good fastball. Get your ground ball. Get you a couple outs. Maybe even get a force out at home.
Hatcher misses up. Lagares.
And that's another reason the previous off-speed pitch was up.
Lagares, a real interesting player. He's a guy that looked terrific at the end of last year. Hurt a couple of times this season. He's only 25. Average up to 294 now. He's done damage, 15 doubles. Not this time, though. Pop up. And it's the infield fly. Lucas makes the catch. Out on the outfield grass.
Boy, Hatch.
So an out.
Nicely done.
And here comes Chris Young. Hatcher goes after Young now. Reds and Pirates have resumed. That game was delayed in the 5th. 4-3 Cincinnati on top of Pittsburgh. 6th inning. Leo Walker's back. And homered. Walker's 13th. Young, 2 big swings in this series. The 2-run pinch hit homer yesterday and a sac fly to get the Mets started today. A bouncer in the hole at short. Echeverria. Lucas safe off the bag. A high throw, a run scores. And there's the first look. It's going to go as a base hit. I think he's out. I think his foot's on the bag. And here comes Mike Redmond.
You know, and I do give a little bit of a cushion. He's a rookie umpire. He's made a couple calls today that he's anticipated and not seen.
Well, Redmond turned around. Maybe there's another look that's a little more definitive than the one we just saw.
He's on the base. He's on the base.
I'm with you. Just for that brief second with the ball in the back of the glove. Here's Anthony Recker. So an infield hit and an RBI for Young. And Recker is up. And the inning is getting away very, very, I wanted to say quickly, but it's actually been slowly, which has added to the agony for Miami here.
You know, Brad Hand, to his credit, has picked up the pace this year. The past couple of years, they've talked about him being a slow worker. Jacob Turner really had a slow pace working today.
Hatcher misses down low. Hatcher inherited a bases loaded, nobody out spot. And the count's 3-0. And there's no place to put him. And it looks like Miami's bullpen is getting fired up. It is Dyson. Bouncer off McGee's glove into left field. Wright scores. Duda holds third. And the Mets inning gets even bigger. Four-run, 8. Well, when you continually have to have the infield playing in, McGee was even at the bag on that one, and it skips off his glove. Hatcher leads 9-1 Mets. Sam Dyson's coming in, and it's raining. For the 8th. Geico quote. The Gecko's last appearance of the first half. It's amazing that fans want to see me play. What is our society coming to? That's from John Kruk prior to the '93 All-Star game at Camden Yards. I actually was at that All-Star game, and that was Kruk's famous at-bat against Randy Johnson, in which he hopped over for a pitch or two the other side of the batter's box.
Yeah, I'm going to go ahead and say his heart wasn't in that. He was thinking about the rest of his career at that point.
Ruben Tejada is up. The inning has gotten away from the fish. Lucas makes the catch. And so one pitch, and Sam Dyson gets an out. You know, sometimes you can make a pinch hitting appearance and then get another at bat. The first one goes as a pinch hitting appearance. This one, he's in the game.
Yes.
Though it is pretty unique.
It is to be able to roll it over like that.
Well, we haven't seen Eric Young Jr. the whole series. And here he is already in this inning with a single, 2 stolen bases, a run scored, and a 2-out at bat with the bags loaded. Ball and a strike. Two and one. Nine-1 ball game. And a little dribbler up the line, and it's fair. I was going to say, and it gets by Buckner, but it's Garrett Jones. South Florida Honda Dealers and sfhondadealers.com. By U Health Sports Medicine, official sports medicine provider for the Miami Hurricanes and Miami Marlins. We'll get you back in the game. And by Bluebell Ice Cream, celebrate summer with Bluebell's newest flavor, Magic Cookie Bar. It's a home run. Actually, that's something that this ball game has not had. Magic Cookie Bar ice cream and a home run.
Gotta say, Rich, game may have slowed down a little bit, but our crack staff has stuck with us. They haven't slowed down a bit. They've been on everything today.
Yes, they have. Buddy Carlisle's into the ball game. I guess, Preston, the one thing that I haven't done, I probably should have done it during that 40-minute half inning or whatever it was, is turn to you and ask you for your best Shea Stadium Mets story that you've never told or that people don't know about. The time that you and Mr. Met got caught, breaking into the ice cream truck or something like that when you were a kid.
Well, it was all his idea. Still got to get that off my juvie record.
Now, you worked in and around Shea Stadium. You weren't just hanging around watching your dad. They actually put you to work here, right?
My first job I ever had, I was one of the kids that went around to the gates that brought the promotion gifts out, whether it be T-shirt day, bat day. I would go in those big garages they had under the stadium and bring them out and hand them out to fans.
Reed Johnson, it's a fly ball, deep left center field. Ligares at the track makes the catch. Johnson getting the at-bat for Giancarlo Stanton. Any other jobs at Shea?
Harassing all the people at the concession stands. I was there all the time. But that was really it. What I did was I was a promotions kid. You know, they worked us good. I learned a lot about the inner workings of a baseball stadium because you don't know all that stuff unless you actually get in there with it. Good experience for me.
So you saw the seamy underbelly of Shea Stadium.
Yes, I did. I saw some of the biggest rats you'll ever see.
McGee takes down low. Carlisle in here mopping up for the Mets in a 9-1 ball game. And McGee, center field, pretty well hit. Ligares back there and makes the catch. So 2 outs here in the 9th. And here is Garrett Jones.
He turned the wrong way, but he did it comfortably. He got deep. Made that play look easy. So that he turned the wrong way, but his first move was deep. He didn't go left or right when he turned his back. He went straight back. That gives you the chance to make that play look easy.
Jones cuts on the first pitch and fouls it back. Oh, and 2. That one's out of reach. Oh, and 2. Had the hat on it. You got to hold the hat. And he got the ball. Jones goes down, and the Marlins get swept by the Mets. And 2 teams headed in opposite directions, headed to the break. The Mets have won 7 of 8. And for Miami, they go 3-6 on this road trip. And the Mets pass the Marlins in the standings. The Fish fall to 4th place in the East.
That happened in a hurry. Great series by the Mets. Good job.
And for the Marlins, the break couldn't come at a better time. 9-1 the final.